Deathwatch.
Hi, I'm Chris with Deathwatch Productions, and this is the 9th episode of A Prophecy of Dusk and Dawn. I'm joined by the usual suspects, this time all of them, and they'll introduce themselves now, starting on my left.
I'm Brandon. I'll be playing Landon Velox and currently convalescing in the home of a wood witch after being ambushed by ne'er-do-wells.
I'm Travis. I'm playing Hadrius Ordius, and I'm currently in a town that's given me a bad feeling. I just want to go home to Mars Oris and apply a simple trade.
And I'm John playing Jardine, a.k.a. Dane Glass, and I'm pretty excited to go into this town. I mean, our companions are really thrilled about it as well, it seems like.
Oh, thank you, and I regret to inform both Hadrius and Jardine that last week you had entered into the town.
Yes.
So
That's why I don't want to be in it.
well, that makes sense for you. All right, so let's get started here. Leodin walked through the clearing, stopping at each of the bodies to say a quick prayer to Luna before moving on to the next. She had to work quickly. Already the Leshy was sending out grasping vines to drag the corpses down into the loamy soil. Once beneath the surface, their humors would be drained, their bones snapped, and the marrow ripped free. Within a year, nothing would remain of these men. She had given them Luna's blessing before that could happen, else their spirits would remain in the woods, unable to rest. Already there were too many spirits that walked the trees of the Leshy. Near the outskirts of the clearing, she came upon the corpse of a young man. Already the vines had begun to gather, but for some reason they refused to snake their way around to the poor boy. She stood a moment, wondering why that might be. Nothing special stood out about the young man. If anything, she would have called him dangerously plain. Nevertheless, something about him kept the Leshy at bay. With a frown on her face, she knelt down, careful to avoid the large pool of blood that hadn't yet even begun to dry. She started to reach out her slim, delicate hand, only to quickly pull it back, a sudden fear overtaking her that he was simply playing a prank on her and that he would open his eyes and spook her, as her brothers had once had. Wonder if that's what takes these nobles fancy these days, eh, Leodin? There were more than a bit of self-mockery in her voice as she spoke those words. They just lay around in pools of blood waiting to scare a poor country lass. Sufficiently mocked, and her will restored, there was only a slight hesitation when she reached her hand out this time. The second her hand touched the boy's forehead, Solar disappeared from the sky overhead, plunging the clearing into absolute darkness. Slowly she looked up. Luna filled the entirety of this new night sky. Tears streamed down Leodin's face at this fearsome sight. What had she done to deserve this honor? Then the goddess began to speak. The very act caused Leodin's soul to buckle and threatened to be washed away across the bridge of souls. After an eternity, Luna ceased her speaking and faded from the sky. Instantly, Solar, blinding and harsh, returned. Leodin didn't move from where she knelt, her hand still on the boy's forehead. She couldn't move. She felt brittle, like she would shatter from a harsh wind. She could only stare up at the sky where Luna had been and remember the divine presence she had felt. It was at that time an odd sound reached her ears. Looking down, she saw the lips of the corpse had slightly opened, and the sound came from it drawing in a single, uninterrupted breath. 29th Spring's End, Hadrius and Jardine. So, last we played, you heard the dreadful whistling sound fill the night air, and one of Garbon's men, standing off to his left, had the thin middle disc suddenly appear in his head, severing one of his eyes, and he hit the ground like a sack of potatoes, and that's where we left off, and that's where we'll pick it up with you two. Immediately, the gang around you, which had already had swords drawn, you were heading towards the north to a manor-like house, a small manor for this town, I guess, anyway, large house for anywhere else. They're kind of hunkering down, and Garbon's looking off to where the disc had come from, to the north, and he's shouting orders. The men that he had sent off to the west and to the east are starting to return too, and they're looking around. What are you two going to do?
Gonna start cartwheeling.
Okay.
Full defense. So they caught us in the act of, because we were like looking for a place to kind of secure and bed down. So as I stand in next to, forget his name, Dane, with my 2 remaining horses.
Yeah.
I'll just look at him. I'm like, you want to bolt now? I haven't had a good feeling since I left Morosaurus.
Yeah, I don't know. The town is worth it here, and could we just go around it?
Well, we're in the midst of it now.
Yeah,
I know, but we could walk back out.
Well, the idea was they were looking for fortification because he's picking you guys off pretty good in the night already.
Yeah, plus I think old Garbon has a wackadoo dream about this is where we're supposed to be.
This is where his nightmares started,
Right.
but not necessarily where you need to be. You got the sense that he would prefer to avoid this,
Right.
but he thinks out in the open, in the plains.
It was better than being out in the open.
Yeah.
Yeah. But these whistling sounds are just our pursuers here in this town, same as out in the open. But perhaps the smartest thing to do, Dan, would just to make a rush for where the group is going. That or run. Because I fear if we break into the house first, that there'd be people lying in wait.
Mm.
Or
Now, you do know that the disc came from the north, but you know that that's not how they travel.
Right.
They travel in an arc.
like that. Right?
So, yeah, the disc could have been thrown from the east to the west.
Roll your geometry skill, Dane. We can pinpoint where the enemy's at.
Yeah, if you guys want, you can roll a spot. And Dane, if you do wish, was it you have engineering? I'll let you roll that instead. I mean, it probably wouldn't work in real life, but I'll give it to you.
Meme format Dane getting all the stuff in front of it. Well, yeah, I'll throw out a spot.
I'm looking for. I don't know if I have engineering.
No, I thought you did.
Oh, I can't.
Mechanic? Is that what you got?
I think I took
All
it
right.
as mechanical. Yeah.
Okay, so I won't give you that one, but you can still roll out your spot if you want. All right. So the shadows are thick in this. It's nighttime. It's the dead of night. Once again, only the light of Luna and the lanterns that the men carry. And so you don't see the assassin, but you do see what you think is a cat on one of the roofs. Its eyes kind of glowing in the dim light.
What's Garbon and his men seeming like they're going to do?
They've kind of hunkered around each other. Many of them have crossbows out, and they're just kind of scanning the rooftops.
Are there any houses or buildings nearby?
Yeah, we
Yes.
were looking at one.
Yeah, you're
Right.
going down the main road of this town, and there are a smattering of low stone houses.
Well, yeah, they're very capable with these range attacks. We don't know what their capabilities are if they can't do that anymore. So,
Yeah,
it seems
and
wise
it's
to me.
better to just get off the street.
But I got the sense that, I'm just a simple trader. I want to give out
Humble merchant.
strategic commands, but I don't know.
Well, if you want, you can...
I'm a frightened alchemist, and I'm going to run towards the nearest building.
Well, I'll follow him.
All right.
No, let's go to that one we were going towards.
I'll let you decide if that...
Yeah, if he takes off to the nearest one that's not that one, then I'll grab him by his coat and be like, let's go this way.
give me a luck roll, John. You can still determine if you want to run to the main house or not, but this is something else that needs to be done from last session.
If he stops me and points me in a different direction, I'll run towards that one.
All right, so you start to take off running in a random direction before Hadrius snatches hold of the back of your tunic and points you off to the north. But in the dim light, you do notice that you were kind of heading in the direction of a small dyer's shack for the dyeing of fabric and cloth.
It's got loot in there for you.
That might be worth it.
Most
To,
dye shops are a front in this.
Yeah, that might be worth it to try and gather some more materials. As I'll make note of it, and then I will. If he points me in that other direction, I'll go that way.
Okay.
So the rational mind is not all here right now.
So Garbon sees you guys get up and start running off, and he's, "Oh, Gov, all right, kid, Can't let them be braver than us, men. And he starts pushing his men forward. They're starting to kind of, like, as you've been walking, you've been hearing rumors kind of spreading or whatnot amongst the men about what exactly has been going on. And they're starting to feed more into that superstitious fear. Many of them are sailors, and we all know sailors are a superstitious lot. But they get up and you all rush into this Baronia's house. So the immediate inside, there's a large hole on the east side of this house. This is as you're running up to it, making one of the rooms on the eastern side most likely completely open to the outside. It's a single story, and once you're in through the door, you're able to see that there's actually a loft with a partitional wall and a set of stairs going up that you believe would be the master bedroom. And it's large enough to where 30 people plus yourselves will probably be able to fit in here with little to no problem. You wouldn't be comfortable. You wouldn't want to live here like this, but for a time, it'll be fine. So, the entrance itself opens up into a dining gathering room area for the house. Once finely crafted large table now lays in tatters in the center. Other signs of destruction are also visible. Paintings have been torn from the walls and smashed. Tapestries have been cut. Some with burns, but the fire just didn't seem to take. And that's where you guys are right now. Off to the north, you see a set of stairs that lead up. And then there are one door on the west and two doors on the east side of the house. And they're intact, though some are slightly opened.
Okay.
Garbon begins giving orders to his men to search about, make sure that those pursuers didn't get in. You all right, Gov? Gives you a look.
Yeah, none the worse for wear.
That was something that he did give orders for the wounded man to be picked up. He's not dead yet.
Okay.
But he is unconscious. He's laying there. Several of the men put him on the table. They begin trying to tend to his wounds, but it doesn't seem like there's a proper medic.
Luck. Yeah.
Plus, you also could run into the problem of, like, do you really want to pull a chunk of metal out of the side of someone's skull?
It's a hard decision. Glad it's not mine. Well, Carbon, do you think our pursuers will come in here?
Oh, I think that they've been brave enough. They attacked our men, or my men, in camp. They took out the scouts we sent looking for them. I think we definitely got a whole time ahead of us here. Hopefully we can lure them into a bit of a trap.
Oh, yeah?
Maybe.
Well, I wouldn't know much about that.
He's looking around. He's like, if I remember correctly, he points off to the west. He's like, there should be a cellar in the storage room over there. I don't think there's any way into it. Unfortunately, I don't think it's enough to house all of us. But I think it might be a good place.
Cellar.
We also got the room up there, the Lord's room. If you want, you can do a spot for just kind of the basic overall. It helps if I'm looking at your guys' roles here.
Yeah, so in my cowardly run away from fights life so far, what looks the best for Hadrius and Dane? I think this is what I'm looking for.
Oh, a way to...
Yeah, like the cellar sounds fine, except that it makes me a little bit nervous about, being trapped somewhere. No way to run.
All right, so you're looking for a potential exit?
Yes, I'm looking like where we can set our stuff down for a minute before we move on from here. But I'm looking for like where I'm going to run.
Okay.
Once everything goes south.
There is a half off the hinges door in the back of the house that would lead out to the backyard area. But what you're also noticing is that a massive slaughter took place here. There's old dried blood over most of the walls here.
Yeah.
Many of it's pooling. You see where it dripped down from the loft up top onto the floor below.
The place looks ransacked?
It was ransacked, yeah. Many of the more easily identifiable valuables are missing.
I think I had the inkling that was Garbon's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I'll have that in the back of my head. And I'll just tell him, well, I think Dane and I will hang out here for now.
But that said, the stairs that lead up to the loft room are right next to the back door.
Okay.
So that would possibly be your best bet. You can't see because it's walled off,
Yeah.
right? But there might be a window up there or a balcony. You don't know what the other side of the house looks like.
Yeah, I guess I'll wander up there to look.
All right.
Okay, I wonder what befell this place.
Yeah, Gov. One of life's mysteries. And you hear some chuckles from the men on that one. Dane or Jardane, you going to... What are you up to while Hadrius goes to investigate?
As I will, I'll go with him. And he's got Ollie, and it seems the safest.
All right. So you walk out towards that. You walk across the dining area. It's all stone with wood floor, and it's very much a mess currently. As you walk by the first door, you see that the roof there is in fact missing, and that Luna pours into that room, and that's the only thing lighting it. As you go past the second door, it's mostly dark, but sometimes a bit of light lamp will be enough to cast that room into shadows. And you see that it appears to be a servant's quarters, completely ransacked as well. There are no bodies that are visible to you yet. As you turn to your left, and you get a quick glimpse as you do so out the northern back door onto a small little dirt yard and a stable beyond. And then you make your ways up the stairs into the loft up ahead. Ollie offers to go first.
Yeah, I'll silently gesture him.
And he draws his sword and he goes up. And then, yep, it's all good, boss. You see what was once a fairly wealthy room for this area is now torn apart. The bed is broken. The desk is messed up pretty bad. There are papers scattered everywhere. The drawers have been yanked out. There's a bunch of papers, but nothing's really intact. You can see if there's anything written if you want, but there's really also no place to hide.
Yeah.
Other than a wardrobe at the far end near the partitioned wall.
I will in a minute. I'll just drop my little bindle or whatever I have at this point with the few meager possessions I have, and just say, like, back in my gambling days, you never wanted to leave the same way you came in. So if things go bad, we're going to make a break for that. Was it the north back door that you said I saw?
Yeah.
So, like, down the stairs and out that door.
Worst comes to worst, there is a window.
Yeah.
Here. It's, what is it? Maybe like a half moon type shape laying on its side. So the flat bottom part and then a kind of an arched. And it's thick, leaded glass. So it's not exactly see-through.
Right.
But it's enough to let light in.
Other than that, I don't really have much of an idea what to do here, Dane, besides wait the night out, try to move again in the morning. My hope is I've never heard story or tell of a heroic charge of archers. These men have been attacking at range, so hopefully they won't come in here. But if they do and things look bad, then I think our best route is out that back door, or out this window if things are really bad. What do you think?
I think that you might know more about these things than I do. Yeah, as the only time that I've ever had to take a back way out was when I met you. So
we've been taking back ways out since that day, seems like. What about you, Ollie? You have a reservoir of secret wisdom that you share in a timely fashion. Anything you want to offer?
In the half light from the window, you see him kind of give a gapped tooth grin. Oh, let's see. NPCs. What skills does only the guard have that could possibly... I think he will go with just a bit of Maris Oris homespun wisdom, which you share a lot in common with him. And he's, I think you got the right of it, boss. If you're going to do something illegal, always make sure there's at least a window you can jump out of, right?
Definitely.
That said, I'm not too sure if this place is wide open as a Morosaurus working girl.
Yes, it's only improved over being outside, but I didn't really have the time to think or see much else, nor do I really want to move about on my own. Unless one of you two saw something better than this. Maybe I pulled Dane away from it. Probably loaded with powder and guns or something.
Should just be some extra ingredients, but it would get closer to something useful.
Yeah. Maybe there's a secret smuggling tunnel.
So down below, you hear Garbon giving orders to his men. They're going to prepare.
Right.
They're going to hunker down. Everyone's going to be, I think he said earlier in the day that if you go to take a piss, someone else holds your pecker. And that's meaning, you're never going alone anymore.
Right.
And it looks like he's getting ready to kind of settle in for the night. It seems like he's going to be keeping most of his, like half his men on some sort of watch as much as possible. But you guys have been walking all day and you've been walking hard, so you are going to need some sleep.
Yeah, I think I'll just rifle around the room for anything interesting, mainly just something we can use as like a chamber pot.
Mm-hmm.
If there's not already one in here.
Roll luck.
So that neither of us. Dane, you look for the chamber pot. Let's see.
All right. So
Not even a pot to piss in.
no,
This wardrobe over here will do nicely.
Mm-hmm.
you think you found the spot where the chamber pot sat.
Was, yeah.
Yeah, it was a little like divot to kind of keep it from
Yeah.
tipping in the night. It's missing. So the closest thing that you can think of is perhaps it was an ornate one.
Right.
Or it was broken in the
Yeah.
ransacking. It's, one or the other. Either it was stolen because it was ornate and could be sold, or it was broken because it wasn't ornate.
Well, I guess Dane has the right idea. We'll just have to relieve ourselves in the wardrobe or near it in a corner
Well-
somewhere.
A very common occurrence in
Yeah.
these type of eras.
But I'll see how Ollie's doing as far as keeping an eye on things. How is he? Are you feeling rested, Ollie?
We've been walking all damn day, boss.
Yeah, I know. Well, you think you can sleep now?
Yeah, get some winks. I'll keep an eye on you for a bit.
Yeah, just wake me when you're feeling tired.
Well, I'm gonna hate to break it to you, boss, but probably just tap one of the boys downstairs. But I don't know how you feel about one of them watching you.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about anybody watching me, honestly. But
'Cause I could keep watch for a little while.
I'm a font of trustworthiness, boss. As long as the coin's
I'm
good.
not really doubting you. It's just more the situation's got me.
You
on
wound
edge.
me. Yeah, you better stop gabbing. Get to sleeping.
All right.
He salvages some of the bedding, which has in the night there is a suspicious stain that you can't quite determine in the darkness of night
Okay.
what it is, but one can guess. And he tosses that aside, but he still salvages some bedding that will act as padding because the bed itself is broken.
They broke the bed. Madmen.
All right, give me a listen as you guys are dozing off. Is that what you're going to do too, John, or you got something else in mind? You gonna sneak out,
Failure.
fight the
I'll
fight
listen.
the killer in hand-to-hand combat in a minefield? All right. So as you guys are dozing off for the night, the wind begins to pick up, and that's about all you can hear. Like, this house has some odd creaks and thumps to it, but nothing you can really pinpoint. And that's where we'll leave you for now. And we'll head on over to Landon. So for this, we travel back in time to the 25th of Spring's End, I do believe. Is that matching your notes there? Okay. So Landon, it's nighttime, and you find yourself standing before a lake. Its mirror-like surface is marred by a singular bridge that runs off across it into the distance. Reflected in the surface of this lake is Luna. She appears impossibly large, bigger than you have ever seen her in the past. And when you look up to the night sky, you see that the reflection isn't some mere illusion or a trick. Luna encompasses the entirety of the night sky. Can you give me a religion?
Okay. Religion. Where are you? Is that knowledge?
I believe so.
Success.
Excellent. All right. So something about this place tickles like a memory. Maybe it was a priest or a cleric who was talking to you. Maybe it was one of Bryn's stories, your nanny. But you know from your actual knowledge of religion, though, that mentioned briefly in the Libri Solaris is the Bridge of Souls. which is very much mirrors this place. It's across that very bridge that a soul will pass once it's freed from its corporeal self. When Solar took his armies to fight the abyss of final time, it was from that bridge that they leapt, plunging into the depths of the lake. And then it's further stated that those who cross the bridge can never return, be they god or man. It's a one-way trip, I guess.
Yeah.
So just from that little bit, you feel that this place, if this is that location, isn't native to Terra. Also, it's believed that the shores of the lake, one can hear the voices of the abyss, and thus has been dubbed the Lake of the Damned. And folklore states that those who venture too close to the shores are lured in by the demons that dwell in its depths. I guess you're fairly well educated and intelligent. This is a metaphysical place, I guess is the appropriate term. It's not something that you can ever reach,
Right.
as in mortal flesh.
I must be dead.
And so, as you're kind of sitting there or standing, the bridge kind of flares up and blue flame torches spring alight. But for the most part, it just kind of remains silent and imposing off in the distance. But a voice comes to you. It's little more than a whisper in your head, but it's thunderous, and you almost are staggered by it. And can you give me a stamina roll here?
Success.
But you're able to remain standing. And it's a feminine voice. And like I said, it's barely a whisper, but it's just booming in your head. And it's speaking the old tongue. So if you can give me a difficult ventus lingua, or old tongue, I forget how I wrote it in your book, or in your character sheet.
Yeah, Vita. Okay, so let me... And what was that? 1/5 was difficult?
Yeah.
Failure. Some babbling.
Yeah. This is because your head is clouded by something, and it's been feeling that way since you've ended up in Leodin's house. Those elixirs she gives you that numb the pain also kind of cloud your head, and you're kind of feeling those effects still. So you're not able to fully grasp what this voice is saying, but you do pick up a couple words here and there. You hear Landon, and then your father's name, Leofric, and then the ancient name, oh, dang it, how did I pronounce it? Flumine, which was what Velix's name was before. You know, Custos Fluminis is the river keeper, Flumine is the river, and that's what your family's name was when they bent the knee to Solar.
Okay.
All those thousands of years ago, right? It's just that because of how Velix works, where one brother will leave and then the other brother will keep going, there is a chance for a name change there if the head brother died, but the other brother had already been sent off, and they come back because there was no heir.
Yeah.
And so at some point this has happened a couple times, which is why you are now Velix and not Flumine.
Okay.
So you hear these words, you're able to pick them out, and as she's speaking this ancient dialect that you just can't grasp, pick out, I have set my eye, and then seek them out. And after she says that sentence, you're suddenly robbed of your vision, or your sight, by a vision. And you see the faces of two men very clearly, and they're standing amongst a sea of other men. Hadrius and Jardane, can you describe your characters or yourself to Landon? We'll start with Travis.
Yeah, so I'm a tall, stooped young man with the Morris Oris look, I suppose. Whatever ethnic look that would have. I'm not sure if we've settled on that. But yeah, I'm not like a strong-looking person. That height's just, that's my ancestry. But I crouch, and I have my hands behind my back a lot of the time when I'm looking at stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much me. And I'm wearing the leathers I wear when I'm out and about in the country.
Keep the clothes clean.
Yeah, maybe oiled to keep the wet off. Whatever reason I would have it.
All right. Jardane?
As I'm what I would think is average height here. I don't know what it is, but either that or slightly shorter, pretty thin. As more like a sandy blonde hair, a stern yet young face. I also have a limp favoring my left leg from a accident when I was younger, but I'm not thin, sickly thin, but almost to the point, right?
Alrighty. The vision passes, and Luna again begins to speak. Again, you can't quite pick up the words. I'll let you roll another attempt, though, if you want. Failure. That's pretty close. What is that? What is it? 2 power points, or 1 power point will minus 2 from that. You got enough?
You need 9.
Yeah.
All
When
right.
do PowerPoints come back?
For this, they come back after a full night's rest.
All right. So I'll spend them.
All right, go for it. So you succeed this time. You're able to shake the strong elixirs that Leodin has been pouring down your throat periodically to keep the pain at bay, and you're able to understand this chunk of Luna's speech to you. They are harried by forces of the abyss and are in dire need of your protection. Unto you I have given the means to do so. Do not squander my gifts. And with that, Luna's voice fades from your mind. You feel something that was long ago sealed and locked begin to open. And in that opening, or into that opening, you begin to feel Luna's divine presence. Cold and distant and wholly inhuman flow into you.
Okay.
You gain the following. If you look at your character sheet, there's sense. It should be under mental, I believe. Or is it perception? It's under perception. To that, add 25% to the base, which should be 10.
Sense, you say?
Mm-hmm. It's under perception. It's right above spot.
Okay, and I add 25 to what's there already, or make it 25?
To what's there already, so it should be 35 if you don't have anything to it. And then down past the, the hit location should be a magic and powers.
Okay.
Let's go with the middle one, right, active in the black box above it. We're titling the power.
Let's see, I can write in the center column here, right there.
Yeah, that's going to title that block of powers.
Okay.
And then there should be a plus.
Yeah.
Hit that. And then under the power, the first box, Blessing of Luna, brackets. Don't need to put brackets, actually. So just Blessing of Luna. Skill, 25%.
Okay.
And then the effects, you can just put 3 question marks.
All right.
So after that, you begin to feel Luna's presence fade from you. She's retreating. And a sudden pain in your side just above your left hip rips through you, and the vision of the goddess overhead blurs. You feel yourself falling, oddly enough, back toward yourself. You're suddenly aware of straw poking through sheets and poking you, right? And you suddenly are aware of your body, wounded and laying back in the stuffed straw bed. Now with this, as you're fading away, you can roll your sense if you want, but you'd be sensing Luna is what this the idea is, right?
Yeah.
Because you felt something kind of open up, and you're perceiving the world slightly differently now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you notice that there is something odd about what you are seeing of Luna, and so you'd be rolling your sense against her. But you do know that that Solar has warned against perceiving at least himself in his true form. Back when he walked Terra, he spoke at length about how the form he is in is the form in which mortals will see him only, type of thing. And that when they die, they can perceive his true form, but to do so beforehand is dangerous.
Yeah. Well, we're not talking about him now, are we? So I'll roll it. Success.
All right. So as you feel yourself falling away from this place, you glimpse Luna in her true form, the pale singular eye that dominates an unearthly beautiful face. Dark clouds billow about her head, making up her long flowing hair, and that is the closest you can describe the goddess to being human, for that her body is that of a elongated and segmented like that of a centipede, and it fills the entire sky, coiling and skittering Each segment has a pair of long, pale arms that end in grasping claws. You may now roll your sanity.
That's frightening. Sanity. Failure.
All right. Roll 1d10 and minus that amount from your sanity. 3. Got off easy. Now, sanity, I'm going to try to keep it from being Call of Cthulhu. So it will play a slightly different part. You're not going to go crazy and, do some action. What I would change it to instead of being sanity would be humanity or empathy, right? So you're just losing a chunk of that, which could also mirror sanity. If you become unempathetic enough, one could probably perceive you as being fairly insane.
Okay.
So your eyes open and you're in Leodin's bed. The window next to your bed, the shutters are open and a cool breeze is blowing in. At the foot of the bed is a basin or a wooden bucket, and it is currently full of dirtied bandages that have been dunked and kind of are soaking right now as she's been replacing your bandages throughout the night. And the wound hadn't stopped the last you remembered.
Okay.
It had just been oozing, and pain is just kind of ripping through you right now. The elixir has worn off. There's a cloth partition between you and part of the house now, and that's, you suspect, where Leodin is sleeping on the other side. If you want, you can roll another sense for me, and you can also roll a stamina or POW to resist crying out in pain. All right, so that brief glimpse of perceiving something other than the normal world, upon opening your eyes in this bed, just slams into a wall, essentially. Yeah. It's almost jarring for you, like, this is reality. And much like a dream where you, I don't know, find out how to forge checks and get away with it 100%, but you wake up and it's just missing to you now.
Right.
So too is that. You woke up, you were so sure that you could just reach out and open up yourself to this otherworldly call.
Yeah.
But it's like slamming into a wall.
Okay. All right. Well, I did manage to succeed on the stamina.
All right. So you're not crying out. You're able to control the pain somewhat. It does hurt, and it will only get worse from this point as the hours drag on. So
yeah. So I guess I want to look and see if I can see my wound and see how bad it is.
All right.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, go for it.
So it was in my side?
Yeah, like your lower side. I believe you were in the abdomen.
Yeah.
So I just kind of put it off to the lower side. It probably like scraped your pelvic bone, like the upper hip.
Yeah, so I guess I'll whatever bandages are there, I'll try and pull them up enough so that I can see what it looks like. And
all right. So the wound was oozing, and from what Leodin had been saying, she expected it to probably ooze for the good part of a week.
Mm-hmm.
She said the worst part would be if infection set in, which she had been doing her best to keep that from happening. And she was actually rendering, like she was using a medical skill to try to prevent that, right? Lots of very hot boiling water, and she said that it wouldn't be happening yet, but if you were to start smelling anything weird, or if she was, that she'd be pouring boiling stuff into the wound, which you weren't looking too forward to. You're surprised to see that it is still very red, still very much a wound that can risk coming open, but it's healing. So put 1 point to it, erase the temporary hit points that were there, which is what you got from her first aid skill.
Yeah.
And just put 1, meaning that you can move without tearing this open.
Okay.
It's healed.
Right.
Right. Which is 9 days sooner than it should have been, roughly, right? By these rules. Not that you know the rules of the game.
Right.
Right. So
She's a witch.
You would say it looks like it's a week healed.
Okay.
Or a week old. Let's see. Do I have her? I don't think I do. But you still are in pain. And it's starting to itch now.
Right. Yeah. So I'll leave that bandage alone, and I guess I will call out to her.
Okay.
See if anybody's there still.
Yeah, you hear her kind of like move and make a noise, but it's still got that intonation of sleep to it.
Mm.
She's not quite awake yet.
Okay. Well, I don't want to break this thing back open, so I'll just stay there, but I guess I'll look around and see if I can see any of that elixir that she was giving me nearby.
Yes, most of her mixology equipment is like her mortar and pestle and various jars and vials are on the other side of that partition.
Okay.
Gonna mix up your own meds? Got a 1% chance.
Yeah. No.
I mean, worst comes to worst, you do see a multitude of herbs drying and various plants drying in the rafters above your bed.
Yeah, I guess I could eat those. That might help, but no.
Just brew a tea out of every herb that you see in there.
Yeah.
That said, she did respond, so you
Yeah,
you can just continue and she will probably.
I will,
wake up.
yeah.
Okay. So eventually you hear
Owie! Owie!
Nurse, this button's not working.
don't you know who I am? Yeah, so eventually you hear her kind of groggily reply, just a minute, and throw off the blanket. And soon the partition is pulled aside and you see her in her, oh man, what are they called? I think it's like a shift, basically. It's like a long nightshirt that is also then worn under the dresses and petticoats and all that stuff. And her hair is currently done up in a braid and kind of twisted around the back of her head. And she was very much looking like she has just freshly awoken.
Mm-hmm.
And she comes walking over to you. And, yeah, baby, you couldn't wait.
I'm in great pain.
Make sure you hiss when she touches your wound.
Yeah.
Like her soothing touch.
So
Get you a witch wife.
all right, just hold your horses. Gotta mix me a new one. And she goes over and you see her grab several different herbs, one of which is an odd looking pod. And she grinds it all up and then puts it in a small thing of water and puts it over the fire to quickly boil together. And then she filters the liquid into a cup.
Okay.
It takes about maybe 30 minutes, the pain growing all the more.
Yeah. This hurts a lot. I wish you just left me to die.
If I'd known better, I would have. You can roll a insight on her if you want, or another sense if you wish, depending on how you think that's going, if the dream still lingers.
Here's a successful insight.
She's chiding you, but she kind of has a bit of nervousness about you.
Mhm.
She's not sure, or you're not sure why that nervousness is there. It could be because you're a royal. It could be because not a royal, but a noble. It could be because you're the person who was found in a clearing with a bunch of bodies.
Yeah.
You know what's going on there. She doesn't really know who you are. You could be with the brigands that are in the woods or something else. But she is uneasy around you, and the chiding you figure is more of a defensive. So that said, she brings you over this liquid. It's still kind of steaming, and she helps you sit up.
Okay.
Drink up, you baby.
Well, yeah, I'll drink up. I'll give her like a glower, but I'll drink up.
I think I've said it before.
You don't know how this feels. This is the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. And I'll drink it. But I'll ask her if anybody's come looking for me.
It ain't been a day yet.
I'm kind of a big deal.
Well, that's good for you,
Unfortunately.
my lord. But it ain't even been a day yet.
It feels like it's been forever. Feels like it's been at least 2 weeks.
You do note that she has added honey to the mixture, so it's no longer bitter. It's mostly sweetened flour.
It's better than the swill you gave me last time. No, I'll thank her for that, for the honey. Be like, it's a better, goes down better with the honey. I appreciate it.
Oh, so the Lord can be humble.
I am in your debt.
Well, you're very welcome. And she, as you're drinking, she reaches out, kind of pulls aside your blanket, and lifts up that that bandage.
I like this oscillating between thankful and entitled. I don't know if it's canon or not. What's the truth?
People aren't themselves when they're in pain.
That's true.
Or maybe
They're their true self.
they're their true selves.
They're drunken in pain. That's the truest they've ever been.
And so when she pulls back that bandage, she gives an audible gasp.
Well, it's why? What's wrong?
Shouldn't be that healed.
Don't you worry about it. You just mind your business.
Is it infected?
She's gonna have to take the leg.
I'm going to have to amputate my waist.
Yeah. Don't worry. They'll attach your legs to it and it'll be fine.
The little Lord Landon. Looks like one of those dwarf dogs, you know?
Yeah.
We had a terror on the battlefield, dude.
You better run away.
No, it's not infected. And never you mind. You just drink your swill.
Okay.
But she kind of quickly bandages you, replaces the bandage with a fresh one.
Mm-hmm.
And as she's doing that, you can roll listen. You don't hear what she's doing or saying under her breath as she's doing this, but you catch kind of the rhythmic intonation of a prayer or chant type of thing.
Okay.
She's a hedge witch.
Yeah.
She's a Lunite, so you can kind of chalk that up to maybe she's praying for the wound to heal or something else.
Okay.
She finishes bandaging you up, and that should hopefully get you through the rest of the night there, Landon.
Thank you.
I'm going to go back to bed, if you'll allow me the night's sleep, my lord.
Yes, I'm sorry to have disturbed you.
You should be. And as she's about to turn and go back behind the partition, she notices that the window's open.
Yeah.
And she, did you open that? And she walks over, and she leans over you and closes it.
It might have been Luna.
No.
Am I feeling the effects of this now?
Yeah, you're starting to feel your lids grow heavy. The pain's there,
Yeah.
but it's like distant. It's like when you're drunk and you hurt yourself. You don't care. It's
Right.
It's over there. That's
Yeah.
tomorrow's problem.
Yeah, so I'll just sort of like drift off with it, and I'll say it's probably Luna. I saw Luna, and she's got the body of a centipede. And then I'll just sort of drift off.
She was about to say something else, but when you say that, the last thing you kind of see is her beautiful kind of heart-shaped face, and her fair eyes are just kind of wide and staring at you as you drift off tonight or to sleep again.
Yeah, it was surprising to me too, trust me. I know.
Don't they go in for centipedes? Maybe they give better luck than spiders, Landon. I
Maybe.
hope so for your sake.
Well, apparently they both
For
bestow
your sake,
blessings.
'cause I'm
Right.
supposed to come save you, so
Well, it's a good thing you rolled on that, because I had it worded in such a way that it would be ambiguous as to whether or not you were supposed to protect or just seek him out. And
Hadrius is going to get a double complex if people just have their dreams and come save them.
Well, what you don't understand is that Landon has policy to always do the opposite of whatever visions tell him to do. So, good
Bye-bye.
luck.
I had a dream about you, and I'll be like, okay, go ahead and bow and
Yeah.
help me out.
all right. Can Jardane and Hadrius give me one more listen roll here? What time are we at?
You got 12, 14, 45
Yeah.
minutes-ish.
I'm burning through stuff here. We're off the rails.
Time for deep role-playing.
Failure.
Also
All right.
fail. You want Ollie?
Yeah.
He's our man.
Ollie,
He can't
your
do it.
ears
You're just
better
not
be
paying him
good.
enough. Yeah, he barely made it.
So, Ollie, at some point in the night, was dozing off on the job, and he kind of jerks upright catching himself before, that you tilt over and when you're nodding off in like your chair.
Yeah.
And the act of that is enough to wake you two up. You're already kind of on edge. And you didn't hear anything, but he swears, "Hey, boss, heard something."
What did you hear, Ollie?
He's kind of looking up.
Yeah.
"Heard something on the roof, boss."
Well, I'll look up at it and crane my neck.
All right.
See if I can hear anything, but I don't.
Who's all in the room? Just us three right now?
Yeah. Garbon and a couple of his men are off in the far corner where the old broken desk used to be, or what is.
Are they awake?
He's sleeping. But that is kind of an interesting problem. It could be that they're just standing still, but you don't hear much of anything coming from the
Inside.
downstairs.
They're all dead. Well, out the window. Well, I'm trying to play. Okay, so I just woke up groggy, but I'm also in like a constant state of alert/panic. So, yeah, I'm looking down at these guys, and I'll kind of start going, psst, see if anybody responds from down there. Anybody that's supposed to be on watch.
I think there's a guy standing at the bottom of the stairs near the north back door exit.
Okay. So you acknowledging my attempts to get his attention on the DL?
No.
Oh, great. Dan, you better get up. I think we're going to have to move here soon. And I'll motion Ollie forward.
There is some dim light down there, but for the most part, there's a lot of shadows going on.
Yeah, I'll be like, oh, I can't hardly see anything. Eyes are blurry. Is everything all right down there to your view?
Ollie,
is there any debris or anything in here?
Yeah, there is a bunch of debris from a broken desk and a broken bed.
I'll take something and throw it at the guy standing guard.
All right, roll a luck. Well, first roll a throw. Who have I had rolling lucks? Has it been you, Hadrius?
I did roll the last one.
All right, Jardine, roll a luck for me.
We've been rolling
I
lots of
fell
lucks.
on the throw, but I did get the luck.
All right. So you throw this, a leg of a bed?
Yeah, just something that should make some noise and rouse some either suspicion or conversation at least.
All right. Because you succeed at that luck, when you throw this down there, that man falls over and starts cussing when he wakes up when he hits the ground.
They're not dead.
And that begins to rouse a lot of the house. You start hearing more kind of movement and cussing and like the drawing of swords. What is it? Who goes? Garbon kind of makes a couple snorts and starts waking up, bleary-eyed.
Yeah, I'll just hiss down, on the roof.
Many of them scramble for crossbows and start looking around. It goes quiet again. Garbon's looking up, sword in his hand. You can all roll listens again if you want.
Here's
Let's
Ollie.
see.
Success.
And failure for me.
Enemies. There we go. So what do we got? Success from Hadrius.
That's Ollie, the first one. The second one's me, which I failed.
Oh, nice. So you hear, you guys don't hear anything. You're hearing heavy breathing. You're hearing like armor creaking, shifting, the floors beneath your guys' own feet, but you don't hear any of them or anything that could give way to something sinister. But one of the guys you hear down below, you hear him say that, I think I hear something.
I'll give a sigh of relief. I didn't want to look like a fool for waking everybody up. But I'm at the mercy of these people because I can't hear anything or see anything. Y'all look dead to me.
But it goes quiet again for some time, and the minutes kind of begin to roll on by.
What time abouts is it? Do we have any way of figuring that out?
You're guessing it's probably pre-dawn. You're starting to maybe see the it lighten out outside the window. It's not pitch black.
Well, I'll just grumble about, I suppose that's it for sleep, and then I'll sit with my back against one of the walls and just look up, waiting for the roof to fall in on us.
Yeah. The minutes continue on, and they eventually become about an hour. Everyone kind of on edge before you start hearing them. Ain't nothing gonna happen, boss. I say we make a run for it.
Is there, I'll ask Hadrius if did you notice any way up onto the roof from in here?
I don't think so. I mean, not without climbing.
So that means they're going to throw those things down at us when we go out.
Well, I would say broadly that we haven't been attacked in the day, only at night. Why don't we wait till sunlight? But I know that's not true because the scout force was killed, but they don't know that.
Well, they know they went missing.
Right. But I was hoping to, if it came to the point, I could just say, a man worried about specters leaves your group. Makes sense to me.
Yeah, they don't know that the scout group's men's souls were, at least by the attacker, believed to be sent to a all-consuming evil god. So, I mean, that's where your plus.
They did go out at night, didn't they?
It was day.
Yeah, it was like just after midnight, I thought, when we sent the scout crew. I just don't know when they were eventually killed because we didn't find them until
we
the day.
We found them during the day.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean they were killed during the day. You're probably right.
I'll take a page for Call of Cthulhu and just go with it.
Yeah, so yeah, that's what I'll say. I don't know if it's very wise to make a run for it at night. So far, they've only attacked us at night. I mean, I don't really like being in here any more than anybody else, but it seems just a hair safer than running through the streets of this town while it's still dark out. Look, we're not far off now. If we can keep our wits together a little bit longer.
So Garbon shouts, he gets up and actually walks down there, and you start hearing him give orders for men to gather their stuff and do a head count just in case.
Okay.
And it does seem like, in short order, that there are several missing.
They didn't take their buddies with them to go pee.
Mm-hmm. Either that or they did, and I mean,
both of them got. Yeah.
Yeah.
You suspect that these men would have no problem using a corner.
Right. So they were killed in here? Ridiculous.
You were sleeping pretty hard.
That's true. Well, I'll wait to see what Garbon's going to do. After they find dead bodies, I'm not really feeling like Semper Claudendo right at the moment.
Well, when the head count comes back short, he starts cussing. And he's... Oh, no, we're already losing too many. Looking for the others. They're dead, we know it. But his men are of the mind that no, we need to get them. We need to get them, boss. Their souls can't rest if we don't bury them, or at least say a prayer. And he's like, no, we need to go. We can't be sitting around here getting picked off, and that's what he's doing.
Which one is that's Garbon's point?
Mm-hmm. But the men are starting to seem to be fairly much on edge.
Right.
And he'll issue a command to, I believe this is a 1/5 one. Ooh. So yeah, he's like, oh my God, that lucky son of a bitch. And doesn't matter. We need to get out of here. Otherwise our souls will be joining them, walking around this stupid house. So you lot, pack up your things and get in line, or I'll dub you traitors and take your heads. And they submit to that, but you fear that it's only a matter of time and maybe a couple more bodies.
Yeah, before he's got a mutiny on his hands. Yeah, well,
So, I think I have a handy-dandy tracker here.
Taking out my little risk assessing abacus, I have now determined that it might be riskier to be in this house amidst a mutiny than it would be out in the street at night. So
yeah, not counting you guys or Garbon, he's down 5 more men is what you believe the total came to.
Yeah.
Just from what your memories are of these men, they were fairly forgettable, but you also think that they were near areas that would be easily reachable.
Right.
You remember a couple of them jokingly saying that they were going to sleep in that east room, that they didn't fear a bugaboo or a spook.
Right.
And so you're guessing a good number of the deaths probably came from just people thumbing their nose and not taking it seriously.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll look to Ollie and tell him, well, I guess we better fall in line. If things go bad out there, whichever way you make it, just make it as true north as you can figure, and we'll try to link up if we all get split off. You got that, Dane?
Yes, but I had seen a tannery or
Dye shop. Yeah.
Yeah, that it would be good for us to stop by first.
Well, I think the only window of time we have to do that is however long it takes these men to get ready and moving, because I do not have a high level of comfort at getting the whole group to make a detour like that.
I'm sure that we'll be fine.
So you guys are going to venture outside by yourselves?
See the way the game master put that, Dane? Sometimes you just got to let it go, like those writs. You just got to, they're good, they're helpful. It's acquiring power, but we just got to let stuff go. Your call, though, Dane.
Well, we'll see if we
I
get
go where you go.
We'll see if we get the opportunity. Because once we get outside, and we'll see if people start dying.
All right, in short order, the men are packed up. They basically just had rolled their bedrolls and put any armor that they took off, which most of them were sleeping fully clothed and armored, being that it was, fairly flexible stuff, and not wanting to have to try to put it on in the heat of the moment. And they're gathered up, and Garbon is standing near the front door. All right, you have those crossbows ready, men. We're going to rush out there, and we're going to pray. He opens the door, and him and his men kind of go out.
How's it go for him?
They take up a position. Many of them are kneeling and pointing at various roofs, and others are kind of just casting about.
Now, I'm making the assumption that coming in here was in kind of a rush because we were under attack, so I pretty much just had to drop the reins of my horses, and they went where they went.
Mm-hmm.
Did they take off in the night or get taken?
Roll luck.
Because remember, you can re-roll one if you use
already burn it.
Special.
You got yours.
Use the spider luck.
They found kind of like a feed trough nearby for like hogs. The hogs are gone,
right?
But they jumped the gate.
Okay.
And are currently nearby, eating out of the trough and drinking.
Yeah, I'll grab them up if I can.
3 horses, that is. You weren't able to kill that one, so you guys are actually hungry too.
Oh, yeah, we didn't have time to do the slaughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if it's not, I'll see if I can get Garbon to hang up a moment so we can just grab those horses real quick before we go. I mean, we're going to need food if we make it out of this, and that's the best option we have on the go.
He sends a small group of men, about 10 with you, while they begin looking towards the north, like getting back on the main road.
Okay.
How far away is that dye shop from the horses?
Oh.
That's so close.
It's near the gate to the south, which is a decent distance. You could probably run it in a combat turn.
As I'll deem it too far. If they were already going that direction, I might. But I'm not an overly what do you can't think of the word for it. I'm pretty cautious. So.
You're not reckless.
Yes, there it is. Not a very reckless man.
All right.
As there will be other dye shops and other opportunities.
So you gather your horses, you make it back to Garbon.
Yeah, get back in line, wherever we were in the group usually, and start following along.
I'm going to say that because you guys didn't eat, you only recover half your normal fatigue.
Okay. Does that, how'd that do for power points?
Your power points are back.
And what do we recover normally?
You would
fatigue?
be the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
So,
So we get like 9 instead of,
yeah.
or I would get 9 instead of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I just got those horses and staying close with Dane and Ollie amidst the group and going where they go. Hopefully they're going the right direction eventually.
Yeah. Ollie's got his head on a swivel. He doesn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
I was with a merchant train once got ambushed. I guess I was with your merchant wagon when you got ambushed too. I don't seem to have a lot of good luck with this, boss.
Yeah, I think you and I both need to get out of this business.
What business exactly would we go into, Pertel?
Not sure. Maybe I'll take up gambling again.
One of these days I wouldn't mind being the ambusher. Shoe on the other foot and all that.
Right.
You pass through the north gate.
Okay.
Nothing happens.
And now we should flee.
From the broader group.
So the question is how are you going to travel? Are you going to keep pushing it?
Well, I mean, let's see what's happening. I was trying to work on a background theory on why this was happening. This is like what we've been able to piece together. Would these be viewed as like cultists and we're in their area? Like how persistent are they going to be on us? That was the thing I wasn't ever fully able to put together, because my initial idea was that these were the assassins that had caught up to us, and that if we didn't confront them or get to Castrum Low, like that was pretty much the only two problems. We confront them and overcome them, or we get to Castrum Low. Otherwise, they're going to be on us the whole time. But if this is just some fringe group and we're in their territory, what was your sense of that, Dane? Because you had a better read on the religious side of it, or at least what they were trying to do.
Yeah, my understanding of this is it's a cult. They're worshippers of this Ma, and I don't know how far they're willing to go to feed it, to keep it asleep. But if you felt that there was a god on the verge of awakening, and your only duty was to make sure it fed and was asleep, how far would you go?
Well, they need easier pickings than us.
Well, so far they've had a pretty easy time of it.
So
we haven't killed any of them, have we?
Well, they're cautious still. That's the thing. They're not coming at us and just, taking everything they need all at once still, right? They're still picking us off. So whatever we are, we're too much for them to just walk in and do their thing all at one time.
Roll a difficult no or idea. I'll let you pick whichever one's higher.
No.
So there is something about the Silentium that you remember being. They are a cult. They worship a forgotten god.
Yeah.
But not much is known. As far as random cults throughout these lands, they don't exist as far as the common, like the common knowledge is, right?
Yeah.
Like right now in the modern era for this game, Luna and Terra worship is on the decline. Solar is becoming the dominant one. No cults have really been found in a long time in these lands.
And these are like an Eastern, or where they're from across the sea, this culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is odd anyways. So my thought is we still have to try to push on, but I don't know if Garbon's going to accept that. Or I don't know if I can.
Make him.
Well, how would you draw them out?
I don't know.
If you think they're going to go the entire distance. Because that's what we'd have to decide. Do
Now,
we
that-
leave a small group and have them and have the rest try and go and lie in wait? Will they see that? Or will they just pick off the group that's lying in wait and then come for the small group?
Yeah, that's the thing I'm totally at a loss for. And Ollie was a fantastic critique after the fact. I wonder if he has any before the fact information.
roll your gaming, Hadrius.
Let's see how we do. Success.
You're reminded of a play in the various board and strategy games that dot and litter this land, and it entails a lesser pawn, for lack of a better word, essentially opening the gateway or leading a more powerful piece back into what should be fortified territory to get at the important person.
Yeah.
For some reason, you feel like this group or cultists or whatever you want to call them weren't killing you when they had a chance. They weren't killing you when you were alone. They only started once you began having a group of people around you. And perhaps there's something else to that. Maybe they're worried that you're, well, I don't know. It's just kind of what you're picturing.
Right.
You very much can picture yourself as a pawn. You have strings attached to you from a dozen different locations. The question is what exactly are you leading to where, type of thing?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't fully know. I know.
I'm sorry, I'm probably not quite saying it correctly, but you know, if this is the Silentium cultist,
Yeah.
or cultists plural, they've been with you for a while now.
And it's only because the group got large that they've started whittling it down, right? Yeah, I kind of got what you were going at, but I also have reason to not really want to be around Garbon anymore. But so here's what I think, Dane.
What I guess I'm also saying is you probably could, if your theory stands correct, take off.
Yeah.
And you will probably be fine. You and Jardine and Ollie.
Yeah.
Because they've been with you for a long time. This assassin was sent after you, what? I think it was like 2 weeks or so after you started making your way up the spiral. So
well, here's how I'll sell it to Dane and Ollie then. I'll give you my misgivings about Garbon.
And that would be part of your gaming and strategy on that, is that there's a less than zero chance that you would be killed if you broke away. I think I said that right. Yeah.
Well, so Dane, Ollie, I don't think Garbon has all his ships in a row. And that's a problem I need to solve as well. So here's my recommendation, is that we travel on till day. Everybody's hungry. We slaughter a horse, get everybody full. Everybody has a nap, and then we break away from this lot. And then maybe they look like a bigger target for whoever needs to satisfy the maw than just the three of us do. And we make our way north. What do you think, Dane?
Yeah, that sounds downright devious, and I like it. Because I'm not in the business of getting killed.
Well, okay. I'll give him a nod, and I'll try to catch up to Garbon then.
All right. Yeah, they're marching at a fairly good clip. Marching would be kind of a loose term. They're far from militaristic enough to actually march, but you get the idea. They're traveling down the road, kicking up a good amount of dust.
Yeah, so I'll come up to him and I'll try to sell him that this basic idea with a different tact. I'm just going to act real worried and be like, Garbon, we're not going to be able to keep this up forever. I can barely stand on my feet. We're all going to have to eat soon. I say we go till the sun's well in the sky and we can finally get around to slaughter one of those horses, get everybody fed, and then we'll be able to go on a lot longer.
Yeah, I think you're right, Gov. My belt's touching me backside.
Yeah.
I think around midday there's a proper little outpost to keep the fields clear. It's abandoned now, but we should be able to reach it and cook up a good meal.
Yeah, it might do better for you in the long run, too. I'm sure you noticed your men giving you glances every now and then.
And you worry for a second that you overstep.
Yeah.
But then he just kind of says real low, just for you.
Yeah.
Oh, don't you worry about my men, boss.
Or Gov.
I didn't mean to make it seem like a big deal. I just think, this spot of rest and a good meal will probably solve that up, because even the most loyal man gets a little weird when they're hungry and tired.
And that is something that you've begun to notice, is that camaraderie, that acceptance is disappearing real quick.
Right.
The men are side-eyeing you, they're side-eyeing Garbon.
Yeah.
They're starting to kind of split into factions amongst each other.
Oh, yeah, I've been way more worried about me than Garbon, for sure. Especially when that one was, the Spectre talk, I was like, oh, great. On the outside, I was trying to figure out who was going to be the Mrs. Carmody in this group to burn us at the stake to appease the Spectres. But yeah, so I'll allow that he's got a better read on it than I do as far as his men go, and I'll just let myself drop back to my companions.
All right. You travel unharassed, and soon midday is upon you. And true to his word, it's at a crossroads. There's a small little outpost. Outpost is maybe a little bit too much of a stretch.
Right.
But it's a place that apparently many people come and stop around this part. There's a fire pit that has been dug and is well used. There appears to be some latrine trenches off to one side, kind of behind a small hill. And everyone kind of pours into it. It's wide open, but most of the grass is kept back. It's now just starting to reach maybe about knee to low waist in some areas.
All right, boys, we're going to take a rest here. Thankfully, we didn't poison the well.
I'll lead the most wounded one up, the one we were planning to slaughter on. I think I will start the chestnut here.
No. For a while, for a second there, I thought you were talking about the wounded man.
Eat the men first. Horses are worth more.
The latrines that are dug, is it just a pit, or is it just like the side of a hill type thing?
It's a trench, a small kind of pit. They cover it with ash usually. But we will stop with you guys there as you lead Chestnut. Are you going to do it yourself, or are you going to have someone else do it?
Yeah, as long as I don't have to skill roll it.
Yeah. You'll be fine. All right, Landon. You wake up around noon on the 26th. Pain starting to creep into you again. It's lesser, much lesser now, and very itchy, that wound. The window's open, so is the front door, and light is streaming in from outside. She lives in a fairly covered section of the forest, but the canopy's kind of lighter, enough for her to get a good amount of light in.
Okay.
And you hear humming coming from outside.
All right. Well, I'm gonna try and see if I can get up.
Okay.
I'll take a look at my wound first.
Yeah, it's coming along. It's looking like it's about a week and a half old now.
Okay.
Roll a stamina. This will just be to kind of keep back any pain.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's definitely hurting, but it's not hurting nearly as bad as it is yesterday. In fact, you would figure that the most hurt you're experiencing right now is that you kind of want more of that elixir she's been giving you.
Yeah, I'm fiending.
But it isn't quite to the point yet where you're going to have a problem.
Put down the milk a poppy.
Yeah. You are in just your shirt. right now. It's stained with blood, and there's a hole that has been opened up in it where the sword went in.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'll look around and see if I have any clothes.
All right. Yeah, you see a pile of your things, your armor, your, like the stuff that goes over your shirt or attaches to your small clothes, right? So like a doublet and hosiery and the kind of cotton pants that would be worn over those, even that would allow your armor to not snag and pinch.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll just put on whatever is easiest and then would cover the demands of modesty.
All right, your doublet would probably work.
Yeah.
And you're able to do that without getting too hurt. You know,
Okay.
just put that on, cinch a belt over it, and you're good.
Okay.
Messor, your sword is there.
Oh, good. Yeah. Okay.
If you want, you can roll a sense.
Oh, so close.
What is that?
A
Mental?
point. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you can if you want, but you won't get a check for it.
that's fine. I'll spend it.
Okay. So kind of like out of nowhere, it kind of just slams into you. Like you're hearing a whisper, a bunch of whispers, a multitude of them.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes you a second to realize that they're coming from the herbs that are drying overhead. And it's not like they're coherent, right? But when you look up, you kind of see something leaving them, like a thread, and then something else going into them. And they're kind of whispering as they do it.
Mm.
And the best that you can immediately piece together in this confusing mess is that it's part of the drying process. The thing that is leaving appears to be toxicity. And the thing that's going into them seems to be like healing and preserving, right? But you also get something like this from Messor. You see like red, angry threads kind of going off of it.
Oh, okay.
And you know, and now this isn't an intelligence. None of these things are intelligent, right? But for Messor, it's almost like a memory.
Mm.
It is wounded. It hates you. And it is hungry. It's lusting for violence and blood.
Okay.
And so this is kind of coming from everywhere. If you look out the front door, you see that there's kind of a miasma that runs throughout the Leshy, which is the name of this forest that Leodin lives in.
Mm.
And it seems to kind of coalesce off in the distance to the north, kind of a greasy cloud on the horizon. But then Leodin's voice kind of comes from the window. She's like, "You shouldn't be up, my lord."
Mm.
And it's gone.
Okay.
You don't see any of the threads anymore.
I just need some fresh air, and I'll sort of like hobble my way out the door.
Well, you'll just injure yourself. Let me come lend you a hand.
Mm.
And she scampers around to the front of the house and kind of gives you a shoulder to lean on.
What I really need is a gold walking stick. That's what I really need, but you'll do in a pinch.
Oh, thank you for the honor, my lord. But there were apparently mines near here long ago.
Well, maybe you can work on that tomorrow. But I'll just,
Like I'm some dwarf with a scraggly beard.
Everybody knows dwarves aren't real.
So we'll end with the two of you walking out the front door into the Leshy.
Yeah, and I'll tell her that the elixir you've been giving me seems to have some strange after effects.
Yeah, she replies with, most of the elixirs that I create numb pain, but they also always elevate. That's what my nan taught me.
Mm.
So your experience or you're opening yourself up to the spirit.
I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
She kind of pats you. Don't you worry about it. You focus on healing. And that's where we'll fade to black on you guys
Okay.
for this week.
All right, thanks, Chris.
Oh, no, thank you guys.
Thank you.
So, Jardane and Hadrius, you get to roll against all your skills because it's now the first.
All the checked ones. This has been a Deathwatch production. Thank you for listening.